Hello, I'm Ellie for Edu4Java, and this is the tutorial number 2 of game programming for beginners. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to move a circle around the canvas. In the last tutorial, what we did was to paint a circle and a square in a canvas, and now we're going to move it around the canvas. We're going to do this with the painting and deleting of the circle several times in a second. The result is the animation of the object. We are going to have a circle moving that in this case is our ball, the ball for our game. Each time we're going to move this object and we're going to change its position, X and Y. As you remember, when we did fill over, when we draw the circle, we had 4 parameters, X and Y, which are the position and the dimensions of the circle. Here then we've got the position that is going to change, so we're going to keep it in 2 properties, X and Y, which are going to save the position. We are going to create a method called moveBall, which will increase in 1 both X and Y each time we call it. The result of this is that at first X and Y is 0, 0, then it's going to be 1, 1, the next time is 2, 2, and so on. Game loop. In all the games we have what's called a game loop. It's infinite cycle that repeats 2 operations. Update, which updates the physics of our world, and render. This means the painting of the current state of our world. So if we change we update properties like X and Y, that is the movement of the ball, we have to paint again the new position of this ball. So the loop would be repeatedly doing the update of the position of the ball and the render, the painting of this new position of the ball. Once and again, the update and the render, the update and the render. Okay, we're going to copy the code to Eclipse, paste. Here we are. Let's take a look to our class. Here we've got X and Y, which are the variables, the properties that keep our position. Here we've got the method moveBall, where we are adding 1 to the position we had. Here we've got the method paint that we are going to see afterwards. The method main is the same as the one we had before, but at the end of the method we have a loop. This loop has the method moveBall, which updates the position of the ball. The method repaint, which what it does is tell the AWT engine, tell him that he has to call the method paint to render the new position of the ball. And this thread sleep we'll take a look at it later. So we've got this infinite loop that is going to be repeated once and again. We're going to repeat the move ball, the update of the position of the ball, with the repaint, which is going to paint the new position of the ball. This is going to happen repeatedly, once and again. The method moveBall and repaint is going to be managed by the main thread, and this method paint is going to be managed by the AWT engine. So the method repaint is going to tell the engine to call this method paint. This method, first of all, calls its father. Here we've got that game extends from JPanel. So here what it's doing, it's calling a paint of the father of JPanel. This method, paint, what it's going to do is to delete the screen. Afterwards, here as we said before, we call a pointer to graphic 2D. And here, well, this instruction we'll talk later about it. Here we call fill oval with parameters of position X and Y that are going to change, and with dimensions 30, 30. Okay, let's run and see. Here we can see that the ball is moving. We run it again. We can see that it goes from 0, 0, it goes adding 1, 1, and it goes out of the screen. I'm going to show you, commenting this line, what does the method paint do. I'm going to run the program, and you can see that it isn't deleting the screen, so we've got a straight line. And now I'm going to tell you to do the same with this instruction, so you can see exactly how does this instruction work. You can see that the circle it isn't smooth around the borders. Can you see? This is what this instruction does. How it works. Okay, here you can see the difference between the two. This is the one which isn't smooth. The corners are like pixeled, and this is the one that is smooth. And what it does, the trick is to put grays in the middle, so it looks a circle. And this is done by this instruction. Let's have a look at concurrence. For this, we're going to take a look at the code. We come here, we put a breakpoint in this line of the paint, method paint, in the first line of the static main, and debug. For looking at the static main, we are going to press F6 to go step by step. So F6, now we can see that the engine has been called. A new thread has been executed when we did new frame. F6. Here, when we set visible to 2, we see that there's a new execution of a thread, the event queue. The thread that we set that was in charge of the paint. Here we can see that the thread event queue stops in the paint method, and we can also see that the two threads stop, main and event queue. Let's see, take a look at the window. Here we have the window. We run the program again, and we see that the method paint isn't called again by the operative system. The operative system knows that the canvas has already been painted, the circle has already been painted, and that we don't want to call the method paint again. Now we're going to take a look at the other thread, the main thread. We press F6, we continue with the debug, and we now see we go into the infinity loop. First, the move ball method is executed. The ball is moved one position in X and one for Y. So now the new position is 1, 1. Repaint is going to be executed. This method calls the engine so that the engine calls the method paint so that it paints the new position of the ball. Okay, let's take out this breakpoint, and we're going to continue in the main thread. Let's put a breakpoint in thread, and let's execute, and we can see that the ball moves one position. Can you see? It goes on moving each loop. Now we take out the breakpoint from thread. That's it. And now I'm going to explain why I wrote this thread. We're going to comment this line and we're going to stop the program. And we're going to execute it not in debug but in a normal way. What happens? You can see that there's nothing painted there. Why is this? There's two threads, as we've seen, executing, and normally the processor executes one and then the other, one and then the other. But sometimes a thread gets the control and doesn't let it go, so it doesn't let the other thread do what it has to do. And in this case, this is what's happening. The thread which does not do the painting has the control and doesn't leave the thread with the painting to paint. This is very common when we've got a loop. We're going to take a look at it in the debug. We're going to put a breakpoint here. This is the one which is executed. So even if the loop has executed the method repaint, the processor isn't executing the thread event queue. There's no painting of the circle because only the thread main is executing. What we do is make the thread sleep for 10 milliseconds. The processor gives the power to the other thread, and this is how the two threads are executed and the ball is painted. Now we can see it runs perfectly. The concept of the threads is complicated, but it's important to get to know how they work, especially for Java games. And just to finish this tutorial, I would like to tell you that the game loop that we are using is very simple. In later tutorials, we'll be working with game loops a bit more complicated. Okay, see you in the next tutorial. Bye.